Jimmy.
Now, what's worth doing is worth doing for money.
Straight from y'all street to Wall Street.
Anybody tells you money's the root of all evil, doesn't make up.
Dudes wake up, hope their girl turned on so they can get a little bit. Only woman in the morning I wanna turn on this Becky quick. While the average man looking at this sad like she fine as yeah. I'm over here looking at tails and whips like 5'6". I left the mayhem for the market. Now I don't want a dope spot, I want to stop it. I know that booty got dry, triggered my stop losses, but I ain't got time for your wop. My V-Wops crossing. Rich with hot V's and pushing hot key strategy and plans to make grand. Still in my wife beater, Batman pajamas, house slides, and about 5 hot picks for the day. Cause I like the way the Dow bounce. 4 hot dips on call, so I got options. 2 with a lot of volume, 1 with a double bottle. Now I know dumb money don't understand. Am I talking about my trade or just thinking with my MACD? You see, we different in the way we move. You move with kittens and your dog, I move with bears and bulls. I got a green thumb, grow with the marijuana. Waking up with the fun, open up some commas. Jump out of bed, big profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, big profits. Light up watching them man, big profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. They used to watch me move them packs and stop. Now I watch moves in the NASDAQ. Profits. Used to run from the ATF and them cops. Now I run down ETLs, making profits. I jump out of bed, make profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, make profits. Light up watching them man, make profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. Yeah. See, me and Jim Cramer been talking mad money. Said today I'm taking a risk. They got the feds coming, but I got support here with me. I call a short squeeze. You get the drop, she pull the trigger and abort these. If she stay on my watch list, I might have to wife her. But I know better. I'm a true trading group lifer. Call up the Wolf of Weed Street. It's time to flip some profits. Go ahead, be hawking. Get your spot here. I'll double top that in the head and shoulders. Hit him up with this resistance. Watch him roll over. Cause I see John Wicks in contract. If I say I make $1 million a day, well, that's a large cap. You moving average, that's why you get crossed. Get split, get delisted and knocked off. And I'm setting the whole block off. I'm buying GameStop and selling them roadblocks off. Jump out of bed, make profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, make profits. Light up watching them man, make profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. They used to watch me move them packs and stop. Now I watch moves in the NASDAQ. Used to run from the ATF and them cops. Now I run down ETL. Hey, my family. Hey, go, what we doing, my man? Make profits. Hey, Shug, Mike, what we doing? Make profits. Yo, Wolf, Professor, what we doing? Make profits. That TTG money gang, making profits. We some snipers.
Good evening, everyone. I've got a huge live stream in store for you this evening. It's going to be the biggest live stream that we've ever seen. Some may say it's even the biggest live stream in history. Forget about the lamestream media. Forget Fox and CNN and CNBC and MSNBC. Oh, I'm only kidding. It's election night. What's up, everybody? Good evening, my friends. It is the night that we have all been waiting for. Election night. And we are going to be covering this with you all here live as the votes come in, as the states are called, as the polls are closed, as the futures rip. We're going to be here with you all to talk about the impact on markets, and we're going to talk about the impact on individual sectors. We're going to talk about what stocks are better for if Trump wins or if Harris wins. What stocks do we think are going to be the winners for next year? We're going to talk about all of it right here for you guys on this live stream. If you have not yet done so, make sure you smash that like button. I hope you've had your coffee. I hope you've had your espresso, because it's going to be a long night. Now, my name is Michael Edward Paranati, and I'm the co-founder and head trader of True Trading Group. I go by Michael Edward here. Why should you listen to anything it is that we discuss on this channel? It's quite simple. I did not figure this stuff out on my own. I didn't figure this out by watching YouTube videos or sitting in Discord chats. I began my trading career working at T3 Alpha Fund in New York City. My first job out of college, I was trained by professionals on Wall Street. They had me go through a training program before they let me touch $1 of the fund's money. And then 2008 happened, and that was the Great Recession. It was the big stock market crash, but it was also the same year that I received one of the firm's Trader of the Year awards. And then you fast forward now, and I'm the co-founder and head trader of True Trading Group, the fastest growing, highest rated online premium educational platform that combines university level trading and investing courses, premium stock market tools, live workshops, individual mentorship and coaching for stocks, options, crypto, and futures. We day trade, we swing trade. We also cover long-term investing. There's literally something for everybody here at True Trading Group. We've got over 10,000 members in 117 different countries. We're up for a Benzinga FinTech Award this year. Wish us luck in the next couple of weeks. That is why you should be paying attention to what it is that we're going to discuss on this channel. Not because I have a 100% win rate, not because I think I'm the world's greatest trader. Matter of fact, collectively as a group, we've been able to maintain a cumulative win rate on all of our executions in True Trading Group between myself and the 8 other professional full-time trading mods that alert their trades and share their screens, give you their analysis. We've been able to maintain a cumulative win rate of just around 80%, now going on roughly the last 5 years collectively as a group. So we got a lot in store for you guys here tonight. All right, so welcome. If you guys have not yet done so, smash that like button. We've got a big night ahead of us. Now, this is a very special TTG After Dark. All right, now for those that don't know, TTG After Dark, let me explain. This is something that we do with our members late at night because during the day, we're all about business. Whether we're in chat, communicating through the mobile app, helping our members make money while they're working a full-time job, we're all about helping people to learn, trade, and profit. TTG After Dark is when we can kind of let our hair down and relax, all right? And tonight, at a time when this country's on pins and needles, there's a lot of tension, a lot of divisiveness, and one thing that is going to unite us all together tonight. Yes, there's one thing that's going to bring us all together. There's one thing that's going to help us set all of our differences of opinions aside. Can anyone guess what that one thing is? Take a guess. What do you think is the one thing that's going to unite us all this evening? Type it in chat. Type it in chat. What do you think it is? The one thing that's going to bring us all together. Type it in chat. What do you guys think? Look at that. There it is. There it is. Money. Money. That is what's going to bring us all together. Because no matter what your views and opinions are on specific controversial political topics, we all can agree we would like to have more money. And that's exactly what we are here to discuss. It's exactly what we are here to discuss. We don't care about your political views. I don't care who you're voting for, who you did vote for. What I do care about is how we're going to make money from it all. Best to know how we're going to make money from it is to stay here with you all, cover it here live while I'm going to cover the election tonight, just like we usually sit here on live streams and we cover earnings. As all the electoral votes come in, we'll go over the Senate race, the House. We'll talk about all the wins and the losses and what it means for the election, but also what it means for the market, especially also considering that we've got a Fed meeting that's going to happen in just 2 days. We're most likely going to get a 25 basis point cut on Thursday. But what is the forecast for December? What does Jerome Powell tell us about the December Fed meeting? What does Jerome Powell tell us about the rate of those cuts, right? All of you need to smash the like button right now. You all need to smash the like button right now. We got a big stream in store for you guys all here today. It's going to be huge. We've got a huge live stream in store for you all. Futures are ripping higher right now, as they typically have tend to do in the past, right? In the past, we've actually had a lot of situations where, markets do move higher post-election. You get that after-election rally. You've also had markets move higher for now 6 consecutive elections in a row. On election day, today, obviously, big green day in the market, not even just in the after hours now, but during the market session, big green day. And that is the 6th consecutive election day where markets were green. Matter of fact, Adam, can we do something about this background? Can you give me something patriotic, maybe? This little dull white. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Now we're talking. There it is. Proud to be an American. There it is. I love it. Nice patriotic background. On election night, we all fulfill our civic duties. Get out there and vote. Get out there and vote. Vote for anyone. Vote for someone. Don't forget, there's a lot of people that died, so you had a right to vote. So go ahead and get out there. Make sure, well, it's too late now, actually. I mean, I'm doing this now. The polls are closing. So if you didn't vote by now, sorry, you missed out on it. But listen, share this live stream, guys. Tell everybody. Share this stream on your own social media. I'm sure there's tons of people out there, family members and friends, that are bickering back and forth in the group text right now. Who's talking crap? Who's talking smack? Who's gloating? Who's, saying that the world's going to end? Who's saying that we're doomed if this happens and that happens? Share this stream in all of those group chats. Bring all of the controversy over, because like I said, nothing unites us like making money. So share this live stream on all of your social media. All right. So this is important, folks. This is important. It's why we're here. We're going to be keeping an eye on the futures market. We've got some of our True Trading Group traders are actually trading futures right now, currently in long positions, as we've just had about a 25 point pop from 58.20 up to 58.45 in the futures market. And some of our TTG members are capitalizing on that recent break of key resistance that we had down there around 58.24. You had some resistance there. And then you just broke through that level and got a nice big extension, about a 20-point move in the futures market, as some of our members are able to rip that to shreds as this up move continues. And there still is some room here. And again, like I said, we're going to be talking about we'll be talking about the election. We'll be talking about the Senate race, the House, and we'll also be going through futures, as the futures are pushing back up towards now to retest the after hours high right now. And your next area of resistance from futures is going to be around that 58.50. So you got around 58.50 might be your next little area of resistance, and that's about 5 points higher from where we currently sit. And then we'll be able to say to us, we'll see how we react once we get up there. This is some early election night bump. I expect volatility. I don't necessarily think the market is going to go straight to the upside. As more and more polls close and the race gets tighter and tighter, I would expect to see a little bit more volatility to the downside and then back to the upside. And we'll be able to cover that with you guys all here, as well as talking about what a Trump or Harris presidency may mean for your portfolios, for your money, and for the stock market. And in order to help have that conversation with me, we're going to be here with you guys for a while. This is not going to be the typical hour to hour and a half live stream that your trading group usually does. We're going to be here with you guys for several hours throughout the evening, going through in real time as these states are called. All right. So we'll be going through it with you guys live as these numbers come in. All right. So in order to help me have this discussion, my business partner and the co-founder of True Trading Group is going to be joining me on this live stream to have this open discussion. I encourage you guys to participate. So we're going to bring him on now. Everyone give a big shout out and an TTG. Oh, not yet. Looks like he's not ready. All right. Looks like he's not ready. So we'll be bringing him on later. All right, so let's go through what we've got right now, guys. Right now, before the election, the Senate had a 1-seat majority. Democrats had a 1-seat majority in the Senate. They had a 51-seat to 49-seat 1-seat majority before the election, and you just flipped one Senate seat. So West Virginia just flipped one Senate seat. West Virginia Senate did go red, and that is a flip. That was a blue seat last election, and that is now red. So if nothing else changes in the Senate, then you're talking about Democrats losing the 1-seat majority in the Senate. But obviously, we got a long night to go. We got a long way to go. So far, electoral votes called. Trump has 23. Harris has 3. No surprises yet. Trump won Indiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia. Harris won Vermont. But again, none of these are surprises. Now, prior to the election, the Republicans had a 3-seat majority in the House. Okay, they had a 3-seat majority in the House. So So we'll have to see how that plays itself out, and we'll see. Maybe Democrats and Republicans flip control of the Senate versus the House. Either way, what I would prefer to see, and this is what the market actually prefers, is to see a gridlock. You want to see one party control each. You want to see one party control the House and the other party control the Senate. That's what the market likes. Okay, yeah, that's what the market wants. So I'm just going through, getting the updates as some data is coming across the screen. Markets like gridlock. Markets don't like when there's a full sweep, blue or red. Markets don't necessarily like that. And that's because if Democrats have complete control or Republicans have complete control, then it's a lot easier for them to pass through their more extreme policies. So the stock market really doesn't necessarily care all that much about general policy. It's the extreme ones that the markets don't like. And a lot of the extreme policies, a presidential candidate will run and they'll campaign on extreme policies to get, their base, riled up and excited, but then they're never actually able to get it through Congress. And that goes on either side, whether it's a Democrat extreme policy or a Republican extreme policy. And that's why the market likes when there is that gridlock. When there's a complete sweep and complete control, the markets get a little nervous because it'll be a little bit easier for some of the extreme stuff to get passed through. So you want to see one control each. I don't necessarily care who controls which, but you usually would like to see one control each. At this hour, you've got 26 seats in the House. I believe I just saw. I just missed it. I'll get it to you guys when I get that information back up on the screen. But a nice move for so far. Nice move on futures right now. We're consolidating, putting a little bit of a flag underneath this 5850 resistance level. So yeah, we'll cover with you guys here live, and we'll get the map up for you in a little bit. No, it looks like Adam's trying to get another screen up. So I can share both for you guys. I can give you charts and also the map. So Georgia, too early to call. Only 19% of the vote is in. Virginia's too early to call. Only 19% of the vote is in. North Carolina, too early to call. Only 2% of the vote is in. Ohio, too early to call. Only 9% of the vote is in. All right, so yeah, 26-8 right now for the House. And guys, it's so early. It's so early that, so far we haven't had any surprises. So far, the states that Trump was expected to win, he won. And Harris has won Vermont, which she was expected to win. Trump was expected to win Indiana, Kentucky. So there's really no surprises here yet. Where the rubber meets the road is going to be Arizona, Georgia, Nevada. Pennsylvania is going to be the big one. Pennsylvania, and then you'll also have Wisconsin, Michigan, and Ohio. Those are going to be the big ones. South Carolina, only 9% of the vote is in, too early to call. And then obviously you know that you've got, like everyone knows, California is going to be blue. Everybody knows that. So you have some states that that you just know are going to be blue or red. And you got the handful of states that are going to determine this election. It really comes down to those swing states almost every single election at this point. At this point, you have so many states are just completely, dug in, whether blue or red. And then you have a handful of these swing states that determine the election. And none of them are even close to being called right now. So it's going to be a long night. All right, folks. Yeah, so we'll see how this all pans out. Nice little consolidation right now on futures. Real nice consolidation. Support down there, 58.37. We could push this higher, guys. I think you could get to I think you could get to 58.50. I think we can get to 58.50. We'll take a look, actually. Let's see what maybe we get. DJT, obviously real volatile after hours. DJT popped all the way to 44.50. Now back down to 39. Tesla also Tesla very volatile in the after hours. Tesla, guys, went from 254 to 265. Then back down to 259. Now currently sitting 260. Yeah, SMCI down 10%. SMCI reported some pretty crappy earnings. Some pretty crappy earnings for SMCI. The thing about SMCI, and I'll tell you guys this, it's not a stock that I am going to be looking at for the long-term portfolio at all. There's just no way. I just don't trust the company. I never owned SMCI, even when the stock went crazy. There is support at 22. I was kind of telling our members today that, sometimes you have situations where a stock, there's such negative news and there's such negative sentiment on a stock. The stock is selling off and selling off and selling off and selling off. And they report earnings and they're bad. And then you get a big gap down. And sometimes that is the final straw. Like that's the straw that broke the camel's back. And it gets to a point where the stock is flushed out. And what that means is everybody that wanted to sell the stock sold it. And the selling pressure stops. The sellers become exhausted. And then the stock starts to bounce and starts to recover. You have that potential in SMCI for a trade. I'm not telling you that it's a long-term portfolio. I'm not buying it. I mean, you want to go for it. I'm not buying it though. I just, it's very concerning to me, the accounting issues, the lack of transparency, Ernst & Young resigning as auditor. That is not a normal thing to see Ernst & Young resign from their role as corporate auditor for a public company. It's just not something that you see. So that tells me that there's real concerns there with transparency. And the company told you they don't know when they're going to be able to they're going to file their 10K, which will be their yearly report. So we don't know when that's going to happen. I just don't know how an investor could feel confident and feel comfortable with that management team that everything they're doing is above board and that what they're saying is true and accurate. So for me, just too much of a risk there. I'll hold on to my NVIDIAs and my Palantirs. No need for me to step in and try to buy SMCI at this time. Adam, let's check on when the polls close. So I know we have some polls closed. You have some closing now. So let's check in here, guys, on when polls are closing. And here we go. 8 p.m. You're getting a ton of these polls are going to be closing in the next 3 minutes. Alabama, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Mississippi, Missouri, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Tennessee, and Washington, D.C. are all closing in 2 minutes. And then at 8:30, lonely old Arkansas. So 8 p.m. is going to be, the big closure here. Pennsylvania being really the big one. Pennsylvania is the big one on that list. I think whoever wins Pennsylvania wins the election. But we shall see. It'll pull back on futures. 58.38. Yeah, so we'll talk about that stuff too. We'll talk about that too. It's people asking me, like, do I think NVIDIA will be affected by the election? And I think the answer is yes. I think semiconductors is one of the areas of the market that are that may be impacted and affected by the election. Semis, certainly, specifically NVIDIA, but ASML and Taiwan Semi are the two that I think can potentially be impacted, depending on who wins. Depends on who wins. And we'll have some more detailed discussions, guys, as the polls come in, right? As the polls come in, or as the votes come in and states are called, and we have a better idea of who it looks like is going to win. Because right now we have no idea. Yeah, right now we have no clue. Right now it's far too early. We haven't gotten any surprises yet. All right, 8 p.m. Polls are closing. Let's see what we got. Okay, so Kamala Harris has won Washington, D.C., Maryland, Massachusetts. Trump has now won Tennessee, Oklahoma, Florida, Alabama, Missouri. Again, no surprises yet. Still no surprises. And there's your pop on futures. Right? So we did just hold that 58.37, just like we just said, and just popped it right up there, 58.47. Nice little 10-point pop real quick there on futures, guys. No, it doesn't share. That's what I thought. Check it in on Bitcoin too. Bitcoin is ripping, folks. Bitcoin is ripping. So right now, electoral votes stand at 90 for Donald Trump, 27 for Kamala Harris. But no surprises yet. All the states that they were supposed to win, they have won so far. Let's do this. So we just reject up there, that 58.50, guys. We did just reject up there. So that is that resistance. Oh, there, man. Bitcoin's still pushing. That is that resistance level that we just encountered up there around 58.50. As we get some more of these states closing, I will go through with you guys the Trump trade and the Harris trade. Yeah, so far, no surprises, guys. Futures are still holding strong. Again, we're at 90 to 20 right now, Trump to Harris, but no surprises. Everything is status quo. Later in the evening is when you're going to start to get later in the evening is when you're going to start to get those swing states. They're going to start to give you some indication of who's going to take what. New highs on futures. So we're going to push up into this 58.50, guys. It's your next little area of resistance. And there it is. There, look at that. Look at that test. So we just tapped 58.49.50. So right now, futures market likes it. Futures market likes it so far, guys. There's a resistance at 58.50. So all of my futures traders inside of True Trading Group, hope you guys are taking profits off into that 58.50. As you guys just saw there, that little top tail right there at 58.50. we get that resistance level. We get that resistance level from the daily chart. I'm just showing you guys right now the 3-minute, just so you guys can track the tick for tick here. But on the daily chart, if you were to pull up a chart of your futures, right up once you get up into that 58.50, a little bit of a resistance zone and a fill area, and then you're talking about your next big resistance level is going to be all the way up in the 58.90s. You're looking at possibly 58, 58.90s. So 58.90 to 5900 would be that little 10-point range would be next levels of resistance if you're able to take out 58.50. Yes, AJ, there you go, my man. From in at 58.05 out at 58.45, 40-point rip right there on the futures. That's what I'm talking about. What is the upwards potential for NVIDIA at this point when they already have such a massive market cap? The upper potential is for that market cap to just get bigger, Ben, honestly. I mean, people said when Apple reached a $1 trillion market cap, it was the first $1 trillion company. It was like, well, how much bigger can the company really get? Well, the answer is 2.5 times bigger. As that company's now $3.6 trillion market cap. So, I mean, I think that, could NVIDIA become a $5 trillion company? I do think it's possible over the course of the next several years as the AI industry continues to build out and continues to develop and continues to advance and get bigger. There will be a period of decline, though. Like you guys have realized that I do expect there, and it might come as early as 2025, where there is a slowdown on AI spend and there's going to be a rethinking of the budgeting and the asset allocation that companies put towards different AI investments and AI spending. And you're going to get a period or a couple of months where investors are going to get very nervous that growth has peaked in some of these companies like NVIDIA. And those stocks are going to sell off. And they're going to sell off probably by 30, 35%. But I'm telling you now that when that moment comes, and it will come eventually, I will be a buyer of those pullbacks. Nothing goes up in a straight line. People forget how quickly people forget that in 2022, NVIDIA was down 60% in 2022. So just 2 years ago, you had a 60% decline on NVIDIA. And I think people forget that. So there will be a pullback. But I think that pullback is an opportunity for people to step in and to buy that dip. Will small caps do better under Harris or Trump? I think small caps would do better under Trump. And the reason for that is because if Trump implements more tariffs, that would promote domestic production and domestic business. That would be better for small cap companies. So I think small caps would be better under a Trump presidency. I have a handful of different trade ideas depending on who wins. Like, I'll just throw a couple of things out there, and we'll talk more details about this as the stream goes on and we get later into the evening. But Trump, I think, would be good for oil services companies. I think he'd be good for financials and banks, industrials, military, defense, crypto. Those are the sectors I think do well under a Trump presidency. Sectors I think do better under a Harris presidency: green, renewable energy, housing development, semiconductors, health insurance companies, I think do better. I think companies like Pfizer, Eli Lilly, Merck, I think they would do better. I think they might have a little bit of a tougher time under Harris, as she's talked a lot about cutting healthcare costs and cutting costs that would mean less profit for those companies. But the health insurers like a Humana, United Health, with Harris and her healthcare policies, talking about expanding coverage, that would be better beneficial for United Health and Humana, companies like that. Green energy, solar under Harris, Next Era, NEE, some renewable energy companies I think would do better under Harris. Home builders like DHI, KBH, Lennar, LEN. The oil services for Trump, you're talking about companies like Halliburton and Schlumberger. You might even have, Chevron, Exxon, ConocoPhillips. Financials, I think Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, big benefits of a Trump presidency, because I think you're looking at looser regulation. I think you'll see an uptick in mergers and acquisitions. I think you'll see a big uptick in investment banking activity. I think you'll see a big uptick in IPO activity. And that benefits the big investment banks like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. But I also think that some of the smaller regional banks, plus the big names like Bank of America, JP Morgan, I think they also do better under a Trump presidency with looser financial regulations. You also have to watch out for, and here's the negative of both candidates. Because you always think what's the positives and what's the negatives. So where you could have each candidate cancel each other out as far as a positive or a negative to the overall market, I'll explain. So what would the negative be for a Harris presidency to the stock market? Well, higher corporate tax rate. That means less profit for companies. Tax on stock buybacks, and higher capital gains tax. Those three things, if implemented, literally overnight make stocks more expensive. So if you have higher capital gains, if you have a higher corporate tax rate, and you tax stock buybacks, you're talking about stocks are more expensive literally overnight. You wake up tomorrow, the valuation of stocks is now more expensive than it was yesterday. So that could potentially be a negative. A Trump presidency, where could the negative be? The Trump presidency, where the negative would be if he aggressively further increased the tariffs. He did $300 billion worth of goods in 2018. And that was like 10% of total US imports. But now he's made mention of 20% on $3.5 trillion, all $3.5 trillion of our imports, and a 60% tariff on all Chinese goods. That, I think, would be too much. I think that would create dislocation in the economy. And that, I think, could have a negative impact on the overall market. So when you look at each candidate, they're both going to spend money. They're both not going to help the deficit. They're both not going to help the budget. They're both going to spend money. Some of their policies, both of them have inflationary aspects in their policies. It just is going to come down to what's actually going to get done, what's actually going to happen. I mentioned some things before about sometimes presidential candidates will campaign on something extreme, but then not actually do it. Some things that I think might have been mentioned in campaign, but might not get done. I mean, I don't know. We can get into that later. But those are areas where I think could have a negative impact on the overall market with either candidate. And I think it's important to recognize that from a trading standpoint, and from an investment standpoint, like what are the positives and what could potentially be the negatives of either candidate winning or losing. And those are some policies for Harris and some policies for Trump that I think could be a negative impact on the overall market. Oh, and then crypto. I think crypto does better under Trump as well. Trump's policy stance seems to be more receptive to crypto and easier crypto regulation. I think that would be good for stocks like MicroStrategy, Mara, Hut 8, and some of those companies. It's interesting, what I think about Trump with energy and Trump with oil. I got asked this question a lot because everybody says, okay, Trump is drill, baby drill, and increasing oil production. The energy trade, I think is going to be better off in the oil services and in pipeline companies. And the reason for that is because oil stocks didn't really do that well under a Trump presidency. Oil stocks actually did much better under Biden's presidency because oil was higher. Higher oil prices means more profit for oil companies. So there is a give and a take there. Yes, higher oil production is good for oil companies, but it also means the price of oil goes down, which means lower margins. So does the increase in production offset the lower margin to where it works out to be a net positive, or is it a net negative, or does it just cancel itself out? I don't have the answer to that question. And that's why I'm not so sure that a Trump presidency just means go buy oil stocks. Because under a Trump presidency, you might see the price of oil go down to where it impacts margins and earnings of those companies, and therefore their stock prices go down. That's why I think oil services might be a safer bet, because increased production means more drilling equipment, more refining equipment, and more maintenance on that equipment if production increases. I also think you should look at companies like Baker Hughes, because one thing I think Trump will do would be to reverse the LNG project pause that Biden put on. I think Trump reverses that, and then you'll see the increase in some of these LNG projects, and that will be good for companies like Baker Hughes. That would be good for companies like LNG. Baker Hughes and LNG are right near all-time highs. Those two stocks right now, right near all-time highs. I think Baker Hughes might be a safer play because LNG might be impacted by tariffs. I think Baker Hughes might be the safer play when it comes to those two companies, but both of them, I think, would benefit from looser regulation and a reversal of the pause on the LNG projects that Biden put in. So I think those are companies I think that could also do well under Trump. I think semiconductors do better under Harris. Trump has talked very tough on some of these for the foreign production of semiconductors. Well, when you look at NVIDIA, you look at ASML, you look at Taiwan Semi, all of these semiconductors are made and produced overseas. So they might be hit with tariffs, bringing those chips over into the US, which means lower profit for those companies. Under a Harris presidency, I think you can look at, I think the semis have an easier time. You also have the CHIPS Act and everything with, Intel trying to become the foundry here in the US. So I think semis, would do better under her. And yeah, those are some of my thoughts. Those are some of my thoughts with regards to, what stocks I think would be better off under which presidency. Tesla long on a Trump win? That's a great question. I honestly don't know. Because I would assume that you would probably see less. You're not going to get like electric vehicle incentives, like tax incentives to buy electric vehicles. So I don't necessarily know if Tesla is along with the Trump presidency. I think you would see a little bit of a step back in, the rhetoric and the conversations around electric vehicles under a Trump presidency. Obviously, a Harris presidency is more focused on green energy and electric vehicles, solar energy, renewable energy sources. You'll probably see a lot more discussion about electric vehicles, maybe some additional tax incentives for people that are going to buy EVs. I don't know. So I'm not quite sure that Tesla's along under Trump. I think you also might have, if Trump brings Elon Musk in to work on the government efficiency agency that he says he was going to bring him in to work on, do Tesla shareholders get a little concerned that Elon Musk is going to be spread too thin? He's not going to focus as much on Tesla. I don't know. So I'm not quite too sure about that. What about nuclear energy? I think nuclear energy is along either way. I like nuclear energy long either way under either president. So it is now projected that Donald Trump is going to win South Carolina. So South Carolina now coming in for Trump. That puts Trump at 99, Harris at 27. But again, guys, no surprises yet. So this usually is how every election works, right? A lot of the states that were polls closed early, a lot of those states end up being red, and the election night starts with a big Republican lead, and then some of your other states begin to close, and then all of a sudden, then the numbers start to catch up. So, I know it's 99 to 27 right now, but right now the race is still very, 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 very tight. And there's been no surprises here just yet. And then once New York closes, once California closes, all of a sudden, then, you see Harris's numbers shoot all the way up. So right now we've got Reuters is up on the screen for you guys. We're sharing the screen there for you. And then we've also got CNBC cooking as well. I like CNBC the best. I think CNBC does the best job of being neutral and unbiased. If you watch CNN, MSNBC, Fox, you're going to get very clear and obvious bias come through on those channels. I think CNBC, obviously, some of the contributors and some of the commentators and anchors, they do have their own opinions. They do show it sometimes. But as a network, I think they do the best job of remaining balanced. I think they do the best job of remaining balanced. Yeah, so right now we're 99.27. The race to 270. Associate Press has 95 to 35. Guys, depending on which channel or depending on which network you're looking at, they will have different numbers as the networks call a particular state. The networks will call different states at different times. So right now, Associated Press reporting 44 to 26. I'm sorry, 95 to 35. I'm sorry, there it is, 95 to 35. Jeff Paxio, are you guys a signals group? Jeff, I don't know what you mean by that, brother. We do. So True Trading Group is led by myself and 8 other professional full-time traders. We share our screens with you. We talk to you on the microphone throughout the trading day, and we send out notifications when our orders execute. So when our orders actually fill, you guys get notified in real time when we're in and when we're out. We have over 10,000 members in 117 different countries. We've got tools on our platform that you have access to as a member, like Benzinga Pro's newsfeed, TradingView's premium charts, Trade Ideas Scanner, unusual options activity, dark pool data. You get access to all that stuff as a member on our platform. You don't have to pay extra for it. It's all included. But yeah, you get day trades and swing trades, alerted stocks and options every single day inside of our community. And then we got a futures trading group as well that's actually trading futures right now as we speak. My thoughts on Palantir. I absolutely love Palantir. Palantir is in my long-term portfolio. We're up well into the triple digits on the position. Palantir has become a forever hold in my portfolio. I became very bullish on that stock quite a little while ago. We're up now well into the triple digits in the long-term portfolio, and I'm going to continue to add to that position. I also just had a daughter 3 months ago, my little munchkin, Alara, and I opened up a custodial brokerage account for her as well as a 529, and Palantir is in her custodial brokerage account as well. What if you trade futures on a prop firm? Then you can trade futures inside of our group. Jeff, we do have a futures trading group. The futures trading room is not part of that annual. You'll get the day trade, the swing trade alerts on the stocks and options. And then we also do have the futures trading group as well. They're trading futures right now, Jeff. We actually just caught about a 25-point move on futures when you broke through. You had pretty easy resistance on like 58.24, 58.25, and then you had resistance 58.50. That was a pretty easy break and move. Once you took out that 58.25 was kind of an easy ride with stops back against it, which went right up into next target. which was 58.50. And we just took profits off in front of 58.50. Now you go through a little bit more of a consolidation phase. We can watch for, a little bit more consolidation as some of the polls continue to come through. And then next resistance I see is 58.90 to 5900. I don't know if we get that high tonight. We'll have to wait and see if there's clarity on the election. If there's not clarity on the election and we don't know who the winner is, then I think you can see maybe a little bit more of a pullback and some more volatility. But the target I've got is 58.90 to 5900 as next area of resistance. All right, guys. So again, we're still at around. So Associated Press has 95.35. CNBC's got 99.27. It's so weird. Vermont voted Kamala Harris by a landslide for president, but then voted a Republican governor by a landslide. That's weird, isn't it? Isn't that weird? To landslide presidential Democrat, but landslide governor Republican. Oof, Virginia's close. Virginia is close. North Carolina is close. There's a lot of close states, man. There's a lot of close. Ohio is close. Georgia is close. This is going to be nuts. Can somebody help? Looks like we got Jeff is asking for some help. If we got anyone of our mods wants to help out Jeff. Trump easily won Florida. 85% of that vote is in. He's up by, he's won by 1.3 million votes. He easily won Florida. Easily won Oklahoma. Harris easily won Maryland, Washington, D.C. All right, so Trump just took Arkansas, so now it's 105 to 27. Again, guys, no surprises yet. No surprises yet. And Associated Press is now at 101 to 35. CNBC is at 105 to 27. So at 9 p.m., Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, New Mexico, New York, North Dakota, South Dakota, Texas are all closing at 9 p.m. Oh, look at this group. Tom Lee, Josh Brown, Scott Wapner on CNBC. I'm going to eat a cookie. You guys see my Christmas garland? My wife started decorating for Christmas already. Literally, Christmas trees are up, garlands on the banisters. She's putting this behind me on my mantle. That's going to be right across there, probably by next week for the live stream. So hope you guys enjoy that. It's festive. It's festive. It's a beautiful time of year. We're up 300 on the Dow futures. So big move higher here so far. A little pullback there on Bitcoin. Futures still consolidating easily under 58.50. No real resistance. No real selling pressure stepping in at that 58.50 at this time. You still have a nice little consolidation happening. Okay, now Associated Press giving now Harris 49. Looks like Associated Press calling New Jersey, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island. So now Associated Press has Kamala Harris up to 49 to Trump 101. CNBC still has Harris at 27, Trump 105. The Senate right now, Republicans have 42 seats, Dems have 32. The House, Republicans have 52, Dems have 27. Still very, very early. Very, very early for those. Pennsylvania, only 8% of the vote is in, but Kamala Harris has a huge lead in Pennsylvania, but it's only 9% of the vote is in. Oh, we just popped through 5850, guys, and rejected. So there's your first pop through rejection, 58, 54 and a half, and you just kind of popped into it. And then there comes the selling pressure. Now here comes Bitcoin pulling back. So Bitcoin is now pulling back. CNBC just gave Harris 3 more. So it looks like they just called, what is that? Delaware. So they just gave her Delaware. CNBC just gave Harris Delaware. That takes her to 30 on CNBC. But like I said, Associated Press already has her at 49. So they already gave her New Jersey and Connecticut. CNBC has not given her New Jersey and Connecticut yet. Early indications right now showed Trump taking Georgia and Harris taking Michigan and also Harris with Pennsylvania, but it's very early. It's very early. Still no surprises. Right now, everything going as planned. If you're in either camp, everything is going as planned. All right, so they just officially called Delaware. CNBC just officially called Delaware. Woo! Way to go, Joe. That's my boy. Joe, $2,000 profit trading the ES futures contracts. Took my last piece right as we got to that 58.50 mark. That's enough for me. I'd say that's a nice election night. $2,000 profit for Joe. Trading futures in the futures room with the TTG fam. That's what he said, 58.50. There's the target. There's the resistance. And we can pull up the chart real quick, guys, just to take a look at that, just so we can take a look at that level, right? So right there it is. There's your 58.50. And there is that rejection, and that's that take profit target. And that resistance level is identified on the daily chart. Okay, that resistance was on the daily chart. And you draw that line right across 58.50, and that's why you take profits right into that level. And then there you try, and then there's your failure, and there's the drop. Nice trade there, Joe. Nice trade. Associated Press now got Harris at 52. Because they just gave her Delaware. So Associated Press has already given her New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, which CNBC has not yet done, but she will win those states. That's assumed. She'll also take New York. I mean, these are givens. All right, so updates, we've got 105 to 30 on CNBC. We got 101 to 52 on Associated Press. Associated Press, I think, is more accurate at this time because they've given New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, which Harris will take. Easy win for North Carolina governor. Democrat takes it. Easy win for West Virginia governor. Republican takes it. Easy win for Rhode Island's Senate seat. Democrat takes it. I don't think that the election is going to have any impact on what the Fed does on Thursday. I've gotten a lot of questions about that as well, because everybody forgets that we've got, Associated Press just gave Kamala Harris Illinois, which she also will win Illinois. So now you're at 101.71. We shouldn't see any change in the Fed's response on Thursday, depending to who wins the election. It won't have any bearing. They've already made up their mind on what they're going to be doing. My expectation, as well as the markets, is a 98.9% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut at the Fed meeting on Thursday. So that's not going to be really the decision or the deciding factor. What your people are going to be focusing to is what do they say? What's the plan for December is what they're going to, is what the market's going to focus on. Are they looking at another 25 basis point cut in December, or are they thinking about a pause in December? Key levels for Bitcoin, guys, are going to be, that 74K. 74K is your resistance. And guys, Florida's amendment to legalize recreational marijuana did not pass. Right? So there was an amendment in Florida. There was a vote in Florida to pass recreational marijuana use, and it did not pass. Did not pass. I think marijuana stocks would probably be better under a Harris presidency. She's recently, over the last couple of weeks, has come out with some statements. She's recently come out with some statements over the last couple of weeks about wanting to legalize marijuana and changing the laws. So I think marijuana stocks would do better under a Harris presidency than a Trump presidency, but we'll see. There is bipartisan support for the legalization of marijuana. There are some Republicans that support it. There's obviously a lot of Democrats that support it. So maybe something could get done there. That would be nice. I think it's silly that it's still federally illegal when you have so many states that it is legal.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. I only got a second before my kids start to come in and scream. I just had a real important question for you. I know that you're not a political commentator, but do you think that there's any path to the White House for Kanye West this evening?
Well, yeah. Once they count all the write-ins, where you can write someone's name in.
Yes.
I think Kanye might take it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kanye. He made Jesus walks.
Huh?
He made Jesus walks.
Yeah. I mean that's a big deal, right? I mean, Harris or Trump can't say that.
No.
Right?
They both may try and say that.
Right, but they won't. They can't.
No, they can't. Who'd you vote for?
Kanye.
Me too.
Me. I voted for Pedro. Who'd you guys vote for? I voted for Pedro. Pedro for president, baby. Are we going to get a Santa Claus rally in December, Mike? By the way, loving the live stream. Thank you, Elizabeth. You are the best. Elizabeth always gives the nicest comments and the nicest compliments. I like Elizabeth. I do think we can see a December rally. I do think we can see a Santa Claus rally. I mean, typically, historically, you get rallies post-election. And from where it stands right now, from what I see, I still see, an okay labor market at 4.1% unemployment. I see inflation in the mid twos and trying to come down. I see a Fed that is cutting rates. I don't see any reason why we can't have a soft landing and rally into the end of the year. I think that, I thought we had a chance to maybe pull back before the election and then bounce afterwards, but we didn't get that pullback prior to the election. So, maybe you can pull back right after the election and then find your footing, like pull back in November, find your footing, and then continue higher and then, recover going into the end of the year in December. And then I think you'll pull back the end of Q1, like February, March. I think the markets are going to pull back in 2025. And we'll talk more about that in my stock market outlook report for 2025. I issue a market outlook report every year for all of our members. It comes out either the last week of December or the first week of January. And I will go through that with everybody this year like we do every year. And we've done a phenomenal job for the last 5 years consecutively. We have outperformed the S&P 500 every single year. It's been a fantastic run these last 5 years in the long-term portfolio with some standout names and some standout long-term portfolio purchases, NVIDIA, AMD, Broadcom, Palantir, Kava, Palo Alto, just a couple of stocks that come to mind that have absolutely just went bonkers over the last couple of years. And it's just been a phenomenal run that we've been on, and we're looking to keep that going as we get into 2025. Yo, Charles, what's up, bro? Welcome back. So right now, Associated Press has 101 to 71, and CNBC's got 105 to 30. No other states have come through. Remember, 9 o'clock is the next closing. 9 o'clock is the next big closing. Some of your West Coast states start to close. So let's do this. Guys, so go ahead. Who do you think wins? This is not who you voted for, but who do you think wins? This is not who you voted for, but who do you think wins? Go ahead and answer that. Not who you voted for, but who do you think wins? On YouTube, you guys can go ahead and answer that. Again, not who you voted for, but who do you think wins? Wow. So on Kalshi, so this is interesting. On Kalshi, which is a platform that bets gambling, that tracks gambling, just saw a big spike in probability of a Trump victory on one of the gambling sites. Yeah, so some of these companies like Polymarket and Kalshi are companies that track money that is bet on the election. They don't, it's not a poll. It's not like, oh, who are you voting for? It just tracks the money that is the money that's actually gambled, money that is bet, like because you can place a bet on who's going to win the election. And Kalshi has right now 70% odds. 70% probability for Trump. I got to be honest with you guys. I really hate the fact that Robinhood added that to their platform. I really do hate it. In my opinion, there is no place for betting on the presidential election inside of a brokerage firm. There's no place for it. That's DraftKings, right? That's FanDuel. Go do it there. I think that there is Adam for president. I think that there is no place. I'd vote for Adam. I think there's no place for that in a brokerage platform because that is gambling. That is you gambling. That's you betting. And trading is not gambling. And for them to bring that onto the platform, I think sets a bad precedent. And I never did like Robinhood. I don't like Robinhood. Showed 2028. Adam, would I be your VP, bro? You make me your VP?
I'd make you my Lewinsky.
Yeah, 64% of the vote is in for Georgia. Trump has a lead, and Virginia, Trump has a tiny lead. North Carolina, only 26% of the vote is in. Trump has a lead. Ohio, 46% of the vote is in. Trump has a lead. So right now, Trump is leading in North Carolina, Virginia, and Ohio. And Harris is leading in Pennsylvania and Michigan. Still very, very early in Pennsylvania. I think Pennsylvania is only like 7% of the vote is in. So I know the Senate race, 42 seats Republican, 33 Democrat. House, 33 Democrat, 68 Republican. Okay, so Pennsylvania, 13% of the vote is in, and Harris has a very large lead. It's only 13%, but right now she has a very large lead. All right, we're finding support now again. Finding support here again, down against that 58.37 on the futures. So that same level of consolidation that we were talking about earlier and that we were made trades off of earlier, finding support there on that 58.37 zone. So I'll show you guys again here, right here. There it is. Right, so there is that level of support that we ran into. Just held again. So right now you got a little bit of a range forming on futures from 58.35 to 58.50, and right now you're just trading inside of that little range. So we haven't had any new states close in a little while. Associated Press has been sitting at 101.71 for a while. And CNBC has been sitting at 105.30 for a while. So right now it's too early to call Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Still too early to call for those states. See, it's funny. Associated Press does not have Washington, D.C. called yet, but CNBC does, and they called it a while ago. Look at that bounce, guys. Look at that bounce off of support. Look at that. Futures trading there. Look at that bounce off of that support level. There it is. Dip right into it. 58.35. Bang. Right back up. 58.45. 10-point bounce. Oof. Way to go. Just patience. Just patience. Grab that VWAP pullback. Nicely done. TTG fam racking it up tonight. Racking it up trading futures, guys. So we want to look for here on futures. We want to make sure that we don't stall at 58.45. Want to make sure we don't stall here at 58.45. You want to push through that. You want to get back up to 58.50. You don't want to pause at 58.45 and then go back down to 58.35. That would make me feel like you probably are going to get a little bit more of a deeper pullback. Now we're still 101.71, too early to call. A lot of these big states. Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, too early to call. Do you think tomorrow's open will be any different with the election? Yeah, I think if tomorrow morning by 9:30 we don't know who the president is, I don't think the market's like that. So you might see a little bit of some downside if that's the case. If it looks like we've got a winner, I'm actually not too sure it matters who it is. I think the markets might have a pretty decent day. Not the lifetime membership, Brandon, but the all access membership, yes. All right, 9 p.m. Here we go, guys. We're going to get Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, Wyoming, Wisconsin, Texas, South Dakota, North Dakota, New York, New Mexico. Those polls are closing now. Let's see what we've got. All right, Trump is now up to 154. Trump is now up to 154. Kamala Harris is now showing 99 on the Associated Press as they are giving her New York. So, all right, South Dakota going for Donald Trump. CNBC's got Trump at 154, Harris at 30. Associated Press has Trump at 120, Kamala at 99. Texas, Trump. So Texas and South Dakota being called. Wyoming, North Dakota. Arizona is too close to call. So Associated Press has 120 to 99. I don't know what's taken CNBC so long. CNBC hasn't given New Jersey, New York, Connecticut. They are blue, bluer than blue. They're bluer than my eyes. I don't know why they still haven't called that. I'm not from the USA, but who's coming third? Thanks, bud. Didn't want to break the rules. Wasn't sure if the trading room chat rules applied here. Listen, we're all Americans here. As long as everyone is respectful, you guys could, as long as everybody is respectful, you guys can share, who it is that you're rooting for, that you voted for. But again, we're all Americans here. We're all True Trading Group family. We all want to make money. So as long as we can all be respectful to ourselves, as long as we can all be respectful to each other, you guys can go ahead and post that stuff. Go Harris, go Trump, F Harris, F Trump, cool. Either way, don't care. Pennsylvania, Arizona, Michigan, too early and too close to call.
Hey, I think what Mike meant was if you want to say go Harris or go Trump in the chat, cool. We're all Americans. We can all, like there's nothing wrong with this is part of what makes us Americans, right? But if you start to say F Trump or F Kamala, or start to get disrespectful, that's when it gets cut off, right? So that's what he was getting. Thanks.
Yeah, well said. If you want to support your candidate, cool, but don't trash talk the other. They won't, Daddy Trades. I don't think the Yankees are going to be good next year. Unless the Yankees need to sign, because they're not going to sign Juan Soto. So they need to sign Bregman, Santander, Snell, and maybe Walker to sign everybody. Yeah, well, they let Rizzo go. They didn't lose Rizzo. They let him go. %68% of the Georgia vote is in, and Trump has a pretty decent lead. He's up by about 250,000 votes with 68% of the vote in Georgia. Yeah, Daddy Trades. That was the worst inning of baseball I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, AJ, any sleeper stocks that would perform well under Trump? I think small caps, and I think some of the regional banks and the banks might do okay. Those might be some sleeper stocks. All right, Trump won Kansas, Wyoming, North Dakota, Ohio. Decision Desk just called Ohio. Associated Press and CNBC have not, but Decision Desk just gave Ohio to Trump. Yeah, I see like CNBC has Ohio too early to call. And Associated Press has Ohio too early to call. There's the move higher, guys, on futures. So that's what I'm saying. That's what you needed. You needed to get that bounce off of that support level. Do not stall at 58.45 and get back up into that 58.50. So here's the push on the futures market. Beautiful support and resistance call outs here for our members that are trading futures right now, guys. There's the push back to the upside as we're now going to get back in and test those highs on the futures. So you're looking at that 58.50 test. Here we go, guys. 58.49, 58.50, 58.51, 50. We're rocking now. 58.52, 50 back to highs. Guys, if we can maybe pull the chart up. There we go. Back up to the highs. That is a new high print there for futures. 58. Look at that break. There it is. Boom. Level broken. All right. So now you're taking that level out. Next resistance that we're going to look at, guys, is going to be up. I mean, honestly, if I sit here, I'm probably going to be looking at, let's go back. Find some of these levels for you guys. I mean, look at that break. Look at that break. Markets love election night. Markets love election night. All right, we might be getting some of these major states coming in here soon, guys. Might be getting some of these major states coming in soon. All right, we got 137. Okay, Associated Press giving Ohio to Donald Trump. That is now 137. South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Oklahoma, South Dakota, North Dakota, Ohio, Wyoming. Harris is leading currently in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Missouri, Kansas, and Colorado. Look at this break. Look at this run. Colin ripping off profits. Let's go, TTG. Colin ripping off the futures profit right now, guys. Scaling out. Got runners on, holding for the extension. Look at that move. You're now all the way up to 58.61 highs. What you do now, you can try to see if that 58.50 level is a support level now on pullbacks back into it. Right? Very nicely done. Very nicely done, guys, in the futures room. Great job. Solid trade. Solid trade. You guys, we saw that pullback. We called out that support level, 58.37. There it is, right to the bottom touch. I mean, it doesn't get any cleaner than that. I mean, that is just sexy. I mean, you take a look at that. Let me see if I could, let's do this for you guys. I mean, just look at this. Green money candles, textbook says Huckleberry. Beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. Uni still ripping off profits on the Russell. So we've got Colin trading MES. We got Uni trading the Russell. So MES versus RTY. All right, so they just gave Trump Mississippi. So CNBC just called Mississippi. So CNBC has Trump at 160. They still have Harris at 30. She's not at 30. I don't know why they still haven't called New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, because those states are in. All right, Associated Press now has Trump 177 to 99. Associated Press is giving him Louisiana. Associated Press is giving Louisiana. So that now puts Donald Trump at 177, according to the Associated Press. And according to the Associated Press, Kamala Harris is at 99. Harris still has a lead in Pennsylvania and Michigan, which are very important states. But Trump has a lead in Virginia, North Carolina, and Georgia, which are big states. Now, here's the other thing. Trump is also leading in Wisconsin and somehow is leading in Minnesota. I would be shocked if Trump took Minnesota. But Associated Press has Trump right now leading Minnesota and Wisconsin. If Trump were to win Minnesota and Wisconsin, I don't know. I think that might be enough. If Harris wins Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Trump wins Minnesota, Wisconsin, Harris has to win Arizona and Nevada. She's going to win Washington, Oregon, California, right? That's a given. She'll have to win Nevada and Arizona if Trump wins Minnesota and Wisconsin. If Trump wins Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Arizona, then I think that would probably be it. Trump would be the next president. If Harris wins Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Nevada, Arizona, then she'd still be okay. These other states are not yet counting. Like Georgia's not done either. Georgia still could. Right now, Trump is winning in Georgia, but it still could go either way. It's still very early, and those states are still very, very, very tight. So anything can change, right? It's very early. It's 9:15. So, I mean, this can all change in the next couple hours. But right now, as it stands, I'm seeing Associated Press. I can't believe with Minnesota. I would be absolutely shocked if Minnesota went red. But so right now, again, it's still early. These states are not called yet. It's early. But right now, Trump is leading in New Mexico, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Harris right now is leading in Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. And Nebraska looks like it's up for grabs as well. Nebraska is pretty tight. You know, none of these states enough is counted, guys. None of these states enough votes are counted. I'm just telling you what it stands right now with the percentage of votes that are in. Like I said, it's still very, very early. Very, very early. Any of these can change, right? What you see on the screen right now, any of these states could change. Pennsylvania can Michigan can end up being red. Wisconsin can end up being blue. Minnesota can end up being blue. Kansas can end up being red. Iowa can end up being red. Any of these states could change. And we just got a beautiful extension on the futures, 58.65. 58.64. Excuse me, 58.64 on futures. Yep, CNBC just called Louisiana as well. Associated Press already called it. Why is CNBC so behind Associated Press? Guys, Collins' final target on the MES is 58.67. Yeah, Tilnack, 100% agree with you. It's possible that, yeah, it's definitely possible. Guys, the Dow futures are up more than 400 points. Way to go, CNBC. They finally just gave Harris Rhode Island. Guys, Uni also just took profit on RTY 23.27, still holding some. 23.27 profits off on RTY. Target there for MES 58.67. 58.67, guys, coming in here right now. 58.67. Target 58.66. 58.67 topped. Bang, there it is. 58.67. What's my opinion on Trump's tariffs plan? So remember what I said before? I said before in the beginning of this live stream that, you know, every presidential candidate will be very aggressive in certain campaign promises, and then not actually do some of the things that they'll say. I think that would hold true with, you know, everybody, we know Kamala Harris talked about, you know, some issues with capital gains and then unrealized capital gains. And like, that's one thing that I don't think would actually happen, unrealized capital gains tax. I don't think that would actually happen. Trump has talked very, very aggressive on tariffs, on increasing those tariffs to a very, very, very high number. I don't think he actually would. I think he's going to use tariffs as a negotiating tactic to get what he wants from some of these other countries. I don't actually think he's going to put a 20% tariff on all $3.5 trillion of imports and a 60% tariff on every good that comes from China. I don't think that's actually going to happen, because that actually would hurt the economy in a huge way. And I really don't, and he knows that. I don't think he's going to do that, but he's going to use that as a negotiating tactic. So I don't think that is going to happen. We saw in 2018, the tariffs that he did get implemented was on $300 billion of Chinese goods. That was much less than what he originally said that he was going to, the tariffs he was going to put on. If he were to actually put a 20% tariff on all 3.5 trillion and a 60% tariff on all Chinese goods, I think that would be very, very negative for the economy. And that's why I don't think that that's actually going to take place. I just think it's a negotiating tactic. He did the exact same thing in his first presidency. He used tariffs as a negotiating tactic against other countries to give more favorable trade deals. And it worked. Those tariffs are all still in place today. So they did work. But I don't think you're going to see those numbers. Those are some of the numbers that were thrown around. If those numbers actually happened, bad for the economy. I just don't think they actually will. right? There's certain things that you guys have to look at each president or each presidential candidate, and you have to assume and this is why a split Congress is so important. All the crazy stuff that each candidate will say, you want to split Congress so they can't actually do it. Guys, that is a final take profit on RTY, 23.2830 from 23.0720 on futures. That is uni, and that is a final take profit there. Also, Colin up there, 58.67 target was reached. 58.7025 is the top of that tail and of that candle. Now you're getting a little bit of a pullback. Great trading on futures, guys. Way to go, Drez. Drez just caught 15 points on that 58.50 break. Thanks, Colin and TTG. Way to go, Drez. Great job. Really great job. Way to go, AJ. $5,000 profit for AJ. Well done. Well done. Done for the night. That's what I'm talking about. The TTG fam in full effect on election night. Let's go. Guys, people are making money with your trading group. Not because I say so. Watch this. Members, if you guys are members of True Trading Group, type the number 1 if you're making money with TTG. Go ahead, type the number 1. Are you making money with True Trading Group? Are you guys becoming better traders? Type the number 1 in chat right now. Anyone that's on this live stream tuning in for the election, if you're not a member, you need to pay attention to how many people you see type number 1, because these are your friends, your family members, your peers. These are the TTG fam. If they can do it, so can you. There is absolutely no difference between them and you. They're not smarter than you. They're not luckier than you. They don't have more experience or more money. They have True Trading Group. You don't. They've got access to a professional level of curriculum. They've got access to professional tools and resources, and they're part of a community of over 10,000 members from all over the world that genuinely give a damn whether or not each other succeed or fail. They have each other's back. They support each other through ups and downs. There will be both. And they're reaching their goals, they're making money, and they're becoming better traders. And at the end of the day, that is why we are all here. Yes, it is election night. Yes, it's a very divisive moment in this country's history. But the one thing that will bring us all together, the one thing that will always unite us, will be making money and bettering our lives, bettering our financial situation for ourselves and for our families. So a big shout out to the TTG fam having a big night. I got to learn futures. Casual fool, you got to join the futures program. Join the futures program. Why is STR closed? Because we're here. We're here, Marie. We're here. We are here. Decision Desk is now projecting Trump to win North Carolina. So Decision Desk just gave Trump North Carolina. How do we join the futures program? You actually can't right now. You can't right now. Yeah, Ben. Ben says my longs are looking gorgeous right now. I like it. GM. You're going to need VWAP is an additional feature on NinjaTrader, GM. I've seen you ask the question 6 times. Straight killing it in the futures room, guys. Well done. Great job. Yep, there's E Daily says straight killing it in futures. You see that comment there from E Daily. Ah, Marie, yes, nothing like a good old political convo with the family on election night. I love that, especially when the family disagrees. How many people are on the live stream right now that are not members of True Trading Group? You guys do me a favor, type the letters TTG if you're not a member of True Trading Group. Just type the letters TTG if you're not a member. I want to see how many people. We got about 2,400 people on the live with us. I want to see how many people that we have here that are not part of the community. So just go ahead and type TTG if you are not a member. We got Neil, Marukas, exit polls from Wisconsin have some really good news for the Trump campaign, the woman on CNBC just said. And guys, if you've not yet done so, make sure you click live. Make sure you're watching this video live, right? Make sure you're watching this live. So you should see a red button. You should see a red dot on the bottom left of your screen. If you see a red dot, that means you're watching this video live. If you do not, then that means you are delayed. So make sure you click the word live and bring you guys up to speed. Profit just came off, guys, 23.36.10 from a 23.29.40 entry. That's on RTY. RTY futures, profit off 23.36.10. 23.36.10 on RTY. Way to go, CNBC. Took you long enough. They're like, oh, Kamala Harris has won the state of New York. Of course she did. I don't know why they're so far behind. So Bitcoin is still pushing, guys. Bitcoin is now above 72,000. Bitcoin is a stone throw away from its all-time high. Stone throw away from an all-time high for Bitcoin. All right, so guys, so right now we've got Trump 178, Kamala 99. Key states that are still not called: Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Key states that are still not called. And I'm hearing the same thing. They're saying that North Carolina is getting close to being called. Associated Press is saying Trump has won Nebraska, and Decision Desk is saying Trump has won North Carolina. What? Decision Desk is also saying Trump has won Kansas. Associated Press has Harris leading Kansas right now, but Decision Desk is saying Trump has won Kansas. Bitcoin's on fire. Yeah, this is weird, guys. I mean, depending on where you look, Virginia, North Carolina, and Kansas are toss-ups. Still very, very, very early, guys. Anything could still happen. We haven't seen we still haven't seen any surprises yet. Another new high, guys. 58.73 now. 58.73.50 on futures as we are extending higher. $58.74. $58.75. New high on futures, guys. 58.75. Markets are up huge right now. Bitcoin's ripping. The dollar is exploding. The 10-year yield, 10 years exploding. The dollar's exploding. The 10 years exploding. Futures are ripping. Bitcoin is ripping. All of those things are good except the 10-year. $58.76. New high on futures. Profit off 23.39.20 on RTY. Profit off 23.39.20 RTY. All right, we still got too early to call on CNBC, at least for all these states. We haven't had anything. $58.78 now. New high on futures, $58.78. So again, Decision Desk has Trump winning North Carolina and Kansas. Okay, now Associated Press has just shifted Kansas. So Associated Press had Harris leading in Kansas. Associated Press is now showing Trump is leading in Kansas. Associated Press still has Trump leading in Virginia and North Carolina and Georgia, and still has Harris leading in Pennsylvania. Michigan and Wisconsin is now just flipped blue, according to Associated Press. Associated Press now has Harris leading in Wisconsin. Associated Press now has Harris leading Wisconsin and Kansas, and Trump leading Kansas. So those two states just flipped on Associated Press. So just a couple minutes ago, Kansas Associated Press had Harris leading in Kansas and Trump leading in Wisconsin. They have now just flipped. They've now got Trump leading in Kansas and Harris leading in Wisconsin. If Harris wins Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, those would be big wins for Harris. And then you also have Missouri that's leaning blue right now as well. That's the Great Lakes. She needed to win the Great Lakes. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. She needs to win those three states. So if she wins those three, that's going to be a big win for Harris. Colorado still showing Harris is leading. New Mexico still has Trump leading. Again, still very, very early, guys. Very, very, very early. Bitcoin is exploding. So Bitcoin popped to 72,500, guys. 72,500, trading above 72,500. So you broke above 72,500 on Bitcoin. All right, in about 15 minutes, we're going to get more polls are going to close. You're going to see a huge jump for Harris. Harris will win Washington, Oregon, and California. So that'll be a big jump for her. We got about 16 minutes until more polls close. Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia still showing Trump leading. And like I said, Wisconsin did turn to now showing Harris is leading on Associated Press. Hey, Mahadev. Love from India. Love from the United States. Right back at you. I am bullish on your country's economy for the next decade. I own some India ETFs like the INDA. Tesla is ripping. Daddy Trades, let me know, up $15 on Robinhood's after hours trading now at 269. $58.79, new high on futures. Do I anticipate a pullback on the spike tomorrow? Do you think it depends on who wins? I think that the market might pull back tomorrow if tomorrow morning we still don't know who won. I don't think the market's going to like if the I don't think the market's going to like if this drags out for a few days. I don't think the market's going to like that. All right, guys. We're now 81, Harris 81, Trump 185 on CNBC. And there is a new high on futures, 58.82. Remember I said to you guys 58.90 when we were doing it. We started this live stream earlier. I said 58.90 to 5,900 is that next area of resistance. And we are just steadily pushing our way up into that area. Bitcoin is still pushing, guys. Bitcoin is right at its all-time high. Wow, Virginia is tight. All right, Trump might take Georgia, guys. 79% of the vote is in Georgia, and Trump is up by 200,000 votes. So 79%, you're getting close to Georgia being called. You know, Georgia's going to need to get into the 90% for that race to be called. So we're getting there. Virginia, 62% of the vote is in, and the two are separated by less than 27,000 votes. Less than 27,000 votes. Bitcoin is on fire. Pennsylvania, 36% of the vote is in, and Harris is now leading by 81,000 votes, so that race has gotten tighter. But Harris still has the lead in Pennsylvania. We've got Donald Trump now at 188 on Associated Press. Maybe zoom that in a little bit. It looks further away than it's been. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's a little bit too zoomed in. That's too much. Yeah, there you go. That's good. Perfect. Okay, Associated Press. So what just happened? It just flipped Missouri. So Missouri, they now have Associated Press now is giving Missouri to Donald Trump. Missouri was blue. Now Missouri is now flipped red. So Donald Trump now 188. CNBC has Donald Trump at 191. Who did they just give? What did they just give Donald Trump? CNBC is at 191. Associated Press is 188. So that's 3 electoral votes. Maybe they just gave Wyoming. No, they gave Wyoming as well. I'm not sure where that just came from on CNBC. CNBC's got 191 to 81. Associated Press has 188 to 99. So Harris is still leading Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, Colorado. Trump still leading New Mexico, Georgia, North Carolina, and Virginia. Hey, so remember what I said to you guys earlier about regional banks if Donald Trump is elected? So the woman on CNBC right now just said regional banks if Donald Trump is elected. Bitcoin is now above 73,000. We are a stone throw from all-time highs on Bitcoin. Okay, the race is tightening in Pennsylvania. 37% of the vote in. Harris is now up by 43,000. She was just up by 81,000. So the race in Pennsylvania is tightening. I'll tell you what, guys, if Donald Trump wins Pennsylvania, that might be enough. Because if he wins Pennsylvania and Georgia and North Carolina, that may be enough. I think Harris needs to win Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. If she loses Pennsylvania, that would be big. So I said at the start of this, I think whoever wins Pennsylvania wins the election. Pennsylvania is going to be huge. And that race has now gotten very tight. It's only 36% of the vote is in. But Harris was up by 100 and something thousand. Then she was up by 81,000. Now she's up by 46,000. Only 36% of the vote is in. So you have a lot more votes that still need to be counted. A lot. So what I'm doing, I'm using multiple sources because the way that these states work, different media sources will call different states at different times. So I'm using CNBC, I'm using Decision Desk, and I'm using Associated Press to go through the state-by-state calls, guys. So let's go through this. Let's go through a little bit more kind of what we think about a Trump presidency versus a Harris presidency and what stocks we think might do well under each candidate. So let's talk about this a little bit. Okay. In 5 more minutes, we're about to get more polls are going to close. In 5 minutes, you're going to see a huge jump for Harris. You're going to see Washington, Oregon, California will all go blue. And that'll be a huge jump for Harris. And then this race gets very tight at that time. And then it will come down to those swing states. All right. So let's go through this. If Trump wins, some sectors I think that we can look for to do well over the next couple of years. Oil services companies. Why? Well, Donald Trump has said that he wants to increase oil production, deregulate the oil industry, more drilling. That means more need for oil equipment and a more need for that equipment. Also, wow. Pennsylvania, 40% of the vote is in. Harris now, her lead is cut to 27,000. Her lead is cut to 27,000 in Pennsylvania. So more oil production means more equipment and more need to service that equipment. So I think oil services. Financials, I think do well because of under Trump, you'll probably see improved domestic investment and looser financial regulation. That's good for banks. JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, the big names will benefit, but I also think some of the smaller regional banks will do much better with the looser regulations. We're looking at right now Polymarket, which is one of the platforms that I told you guys tracks the money that is bet on the election. Polymarket now an all-time high, showing an 80% probability, 82.9% probability. Polymarket is showing of a Trump presidency. That is the highest number since the start of the campaign. So 82.9% showing on Polymarket. Now, again, that is not a poll. That tracks money that is being bet on who's going to win the election. It's showing an 82.9% probability of a Trump victory on Polymarket. Kalshi is another one. Kalshi, Kalshi is another one. It's another platform that tracks the money being bet on the election. That's also at all-time high, showing a Trump presidency or probability into the 70s. Polymarket at 82.9. Pennsylvania is now 50-49, guys. Pennsylvania is now 50-49. 50% Harris, 49% Trump. That race has just gotten very, very tight. That race has got Wisconsin is now back to red. Wisconsin is now back to red. Trump is now leading again in Wisconsin. Okay, Harris had a lead there briefly in Wisconsin. Trump is now back leading Wisconsin. Trump is now back up by 0.5%. Guys, listen, if Trump wins Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, the election's over. It is now 49.7 to 49.3. 49.7 Harris, 49.3 Donald Trump. Is now 49.6 to 49.5. This is insane. Pennsylvania has now just gone red. Pennsylvania has now just gone red. Donald Trump has just taken the lead in Pennsylvania. He now leads Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Kansas. He still leads in Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia. He just won Montana and Utah. Those were givens. So it is 10 o'clock. Montana and Utah just went Trump. You're about to get Washington, Oregon, California for Harris. All right, so the 10 p.m., polls just closed. Montana, Wyoming, Utah just went Donald Trump. That's expected. We're waiting. Arizona, Trump has a lead in Arizona. California, Oregon, Washington will go to Kamala Harris. Arizona, Trump has a lead. Pennsylvania, Trump has a lead. Wisconsin, Trump has a lead. God, it's too early. It's way too early. But if Trump wins those states, he takes the election. There's no way that stays. Initial numbers show Oregon red. There's no way that's going to stay. Futures market still moving higher, 58.84, 58.85. Futures market, 58.85. New high. All right. Let's get back as these numbers come in. I'll update you guys as we go, but Trump has taken a lead in Pennsylvania. So let's go through. There is profits off, guys, on RTY. Profits off 23.47 from the 23.29 long. Okay, profits off 58.90. There it is on the futures. Target acquired. Boom. Profits off. There is your target reach, guys, on futures. Profits coming off. Orders filled in the futures room. 58.90. If you guys have been on this live stream with us for the last 2 hours, we called out that long there at 58.37. We said targets 58.90 to 5,600. And there it is, a new high, 58.9175 on futures. We are pushing towards a new all-time high on Bitcoin, and we are pushing towards a new all-time high on the S&P. We are looking at 59.25 for that all-time high, and we are getting very, very close. 58.91 new high on the S&P. 58.9125 new high. All right, so let's talk about, Pennsylvania just went back to Harris. Pennsylvania went 49.7, 49.4 back to Kamala Harris. Pennsylvania is a heavyweight slugfest. 49.7 to 49.4, less than 10,000 vote difference in Pennsylvania. They are separated by 9,000 votes in Pennsylvania. You gotta be kidding me. Insane. I feel like I'm watching March Madness. I feel like I'm watching March Madness. This is nuts. Pennsylvania now back to blue, 49.7 to 49.4. Only 44% of that vote is in. So less than half the vote is in, and they are dead tied. Okay? It is a dead heat there in Pennsylvania. These next couple hours are going to be huge. Okay? 58.95 new high on futures. These next hours are going to be huge, guys. Huge. You're not going to know Pennsylvania. You're going to go to sleep tonight and you're not going to know Pennsylvania. Okay? You're not going to know Pennsylvania tonight. Only 44% of that vote is in. Bitcoin is now pushing 74,000. You are crossing 73,800. Bitcoin is up over 9%. 73,850. The dollar new high, 105. Donald Trump just took back Pennsylvania, 49.8 to 49.3. This is nuts. This is nuts. We should just go to Pennsylvania. It's where the action is. No, it's not. The action's right here on True Trading Group's live stream. All right. Trump presidency, oil services, financials. I explained to you why. Not semiconductors. I think Taiwan Semi, ASML, and those companies have a tough time. Trump is not for foreign imports of those chips, right? So additional tariffs on those companies means lower margins, lower profit for companies like ASML and Taiwan Semi. I think Harris would be better for those semiconductor names. Crypto, Trump has positioned himself as the more acceptive or the more receptive candidate to crypto. And I think Trump would be good for crypto stocks. I think Trump would be good for Bitcoin. I think MicroStrategy, Hut 8, Mara, I think those stocks can do well. I already talked to you guys about the banks. One area that I think you should focus on is in the LNG space. One thing that I would expect Donald Trump to do would be to reverse the pause that Biden put on LNG projects. That means companies like Baker Hughes could stand to benefit. That's BKR. That stock is right at its all-time high. Some oil services names could be companies like Schlumberger, Halliburton. Those are some names. Chevron, ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips. They've got a component of that as well. But Schlumberger, Halliburton, they might do well under that as well. Okay. Small caps, the Russell. I think small caps could do well under Trump. And the reason for that is because if Trump increased tariffs, then the increase in tariffs promotes domestic production. Okay. Because then the consumption of goods will shift from the more expensive international product, and you would look to purchase that product in the States. So that increases production to meet an increase in demand for domestic goods. So you should see domestic production increase. If tariffs increase, that should bode well for small caps. So I would expect actually the IWM and the Russell to actually do pretty well under a Trump presidency. Okay. So those are some areas that I think: oil services, financials, crypto, and LNG. Those are some areas that I think could do well under a Trump presidency. Some areas I think could do well under a Harris presidency: renewable green energy stocks, solar names, but solar names need interest rates to come down. Interest rates will come down next year. And if you have Harris in the White House, green energy initiatives, I think you'll have some incentives there. I think that solar stocks could do well. Also, renewable energy names, like even some utilities like a Next Era Energy, that's NEE, that could do that. That company could do pretty well. I would also look at housing. One of Harris's big campaign pushes was more housing development. Guys, Associated Press is giving Colorado to Kamala Harris. That puts Kamala Harris at 109. They just gave her Colorado. Polymarket now has Donald Trump at an 88% probability of winning the election. That doesn't mean all that much, though, because if you looked at the Yankees' probability of winning Game 5 after the fourth inning, it was 90-something%, and the Yankees somehow ended up losing that game. But I digress. So that's green energy, housing stocks, builders, home builders. Horton, Lennar, that's DHI, that's LEN. Okay, those are names that you would look for there for home builders. Health insurance companies. Under Harris, you probably see expanded coverage in health insurance. That means more business for United Health and Humana. Those companies can do well. Watch out for Pfizer, Merck, Eli Lilly. She talked about cutting costs in healthcare for certain healthcare products. That means less profit for those companies. And yeah, that's what I think. Yep. All right. So Colorado is called for Harris. That's 10 electoral votes for Harris. That's how she just went to 109. So she was at 99. She just jumped to 109. All right, guys. So as it stands right now, there is still a long way to go. Okay. There's a long way to go. But Bitcoin is making a run at the new all-time high. We just crossed over 74,000. Okay. We just crossed over 74,000 on Bitcoin. As we sit here, Trump is leading in Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Iowa has just turned red. Harris was leading Iowa. Iowa is now red. Okay, on Associated Press. Again, it is very early. Okay, just because they are red now does not mean they're going to close red. And just because they're blue now does not mean they're going to close blue. There is a lot of votes still to call. Donald Trump is now leading in Pennsylvania by 60,000 votes. Donald Trump is now leading Pennsylvania. And they are calling Kansas for Donald Trump. Okay. CNBC is calling Kansas for Donald Trump. That's 6 more electoral votes. Associated Press has not yet called Kansas for Donald Trump. Associated Press has not yet called it for Donald Trump. CNBC looks like they're calling Kansas. What a battleground, man. What a battle in Pennsylvania. What a battle in Pennsylvania. That is nuts. Trump now has a 1% lead in Pennsylvania. Guys, that was the target for the S&P. I'm not sure how much more upside there is on that. That was the target. We said 5890 to 5900. That was target. Bitcoin just hit an all-time high. There it is. So there's your all-time high on Bitcoin, guys. All-time high on Bitcoin. Oh, I still have this cookie. Guys, Bitcoin just hit 75,000. Bitcoin just hit 75,000. Crypto stocks are going to be fun tomorrow, boy. Guys, Donald Trump leads Virginia by 2,000 votes. 2,000. That's basically zero. That's crazy. Isn't it crazy? Think about this. Isn't it crazy that you could have millions of people vote and you're off and the difference is 2,000? Isn't that crazy? Think about that. Nothing else. Nothing else has been called. Yeah, Steve. There you go. Steve Leisman. If I didn't know any better, I think he was talking about True Trading Group. I was like, yeah, what are you watching the other networks for? He's like, yeah, we got the election, but we've also got the markets. We've got the Fed meeting. We've got crypto. Like, yeah. Yeah, it's True Trading Group, basically. That's what we're talking about here. So the 10-year yield is ripping. So is the dollar. So is the futures market. So is Bitcoin. So Arizona has just gone blue. New Mexico has just gone blue. So Harris now has a lead in Arizona and New Mexico. Harris has taken the lead in Arizona and New Mexico. Trump still has a lead in Kansas, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina, and Georgia. The Electoral College needs to be abolished. How can California not count the most? California does count the most. And no, the Electoral College should not be abolished. Polymarket now has Donald Trump at a 90% probability to win the election. Again, these are just platforms that track money that's being bet. Money that's being bet on the election. It's Polymarket, Kalshi. Iowa is being called for Donald Trump. CNBC is calling Iowa. Associated Press has not yet called Iowa. Virginia has just gone blue. Kamala Harris has just taken the lead in Virginia. Okay, so some important things have just taken place in the last couple of minutes. Donald Trump has won Iowa. However, Kamala Harris has now taken a lead in Virginia. She has taken a lead in Arizona, and she has taken a lead on New Mexico. Donald Trump now leads in Pennsylvania by 99,000, but there's only 54% of that vote is in. She leads in Michigan by 28,000, but only 20% of the vote is in. And Donald Trump is projected also to win Kansas on CNBC. That would be big for Harris if she was able to win Virginia. And obviously it's huge for Trump if he can win Pennsylvania. Illinois was a big win for Harris. Iowa was a big win for Trump. So far, those are, I think, the biggest wins for each candidate. So far, obviously, the biggest win for either candidate, I think, will be Pennsylvania. You know, I said at the beginning, I think whoever wins Pennsylvania wins the election. So far, out of the states that have been called, there really aren't any surprises for the states that have been called. There's still a lot of states that are out. All right, folks. So we're still just kind of waiting on see if anything else comes through. Markets are still sitting up near highs. Trying to see if we have anything else from any other outlet, and we don't right now. I'm still checking. I'm checking decision desk. They haven't made any additional calls. CNBC has not made any additional calls. CNBC right now sits at 207 to 91. Associated Press has 198 to 112. We're up about 600 now on Dow futures. No, my pleasure, Merrick. Okay, Decision Desk is projecting. Okay, this is just coming through now. Decision Desk is projecting Trump to win Georgia. New York Times is saying Georgia very likely a Trump victory. Decision Desk is projecting Trump to win Georgia. So Associated Press right now has Trump leading Georgia. Yeah, my pleasure, guys. The futures have just double topped at 58.95. Futures market just double topped at 58.95, 58.94. And that's right. That's the resistance level, right? So if you guys have been with us for the last couple hours, with 3 hours, we've been live with you guys now. And that is our target we gave you was 58.90 to 5900. And we got to 58.95, right smack into the middle of that resistance. And now a little bit of a pullback. Trump has just retaken Arizona, the lead. He hasn't taken the state yet, but Arizona now, Associated Press has Arizona back red. So Trump has just retaken the lead in Arizona. Virginia still has Harris leading. North Carolina and Georgia, Pennsylvania. New Mexico also just turned red. So New Mexico just turned red. So Arizona and New Mexico just turned red, which means that Trump just took the lead. It doesn't mean that they are red, but means that Trump is right now currently leading also in Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Kansas, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin. All right, folks. 57% of Pennsylvania is in. 22% of Michigan is in. Harris leads by 13,000. So, guys, we still have a bunch of unknowns. We still have a bunch of question marks. The one thing that we do know is that the futures market is ripping. I think we can see a pullback from here, though. I wouldn't be surprised to see us pull back to 58.65 or so. So I think we can see a pullback from the futures market here after that rally up into that resistance. I think we get a little bit of a pullback there. Dollar ripping, 10-year yield ripping, a 10-year moving higher is actually not a good thing. The 10-year moving higher could just be the market's anticipation of a higher deficit, potential inflationary pressures, but also more growth. So, the 10-year yield moving higher could mean all of those things, right? It can mean all of those things. Could mean all of those things. Like Bitcoin moving higher, everything is pushing back to the upside. We got to see what happens tomorrow morning. Now, if you guys recall, back in 2020, you went to sleep with one thing, you woke up, and there was something different. The markets could be very different at 6, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Markets could look very different than they look right now. This map could look very different than it looks right now. You just don't know. You just don't know. So what does that mean? What it means is get your ass up tomorrow, log into True Trading Group, open up the mobile app, hear the analysis from myself and 8 other professional full-time traders who are showing you their screens and giving you their detailed game plan of exactly how they intend on making money tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know who's going to win this election. I know who I voted for, but I don't know who's going to win this election. The markets could look very different tomorrow than they look right now.
Who did you vote for?
Pedro.
I thought it was Trump.
I voted for Pedro. It's a safe bet. Everybody votes for Pedro. No, you cannot know who I voted for. Trade with Friends says, can we know who you voted for? I will not tell you who I voted for. You guys come to this YouTube channel not because you agree with my political views and opinions. You come to this YouTube channel because I will help you make money. Plain and simple. You don't need to care or worry about what my political views are. You don't need to know about what my stances are on controversial political topics. What you need to know is what I'm buying and what I'm selling. If you guys want to know what that is, you go directly to ttgtrial.com and you join us for 7 days, totally for free, no credit card required, and trade with us for 7 days. It's 7 trading days, not 7 calendar days. It's 7 trading days. Okay? So you guys can go to ttgtrial.com, enter your name, email, phone number, click yes, I want this, fill out the form, get your button chat, download the mobile app. It's available on iPhone and Android, and that will give you guys access to everything it is that we're doing. Okay, that'll give you guys access to everything it is that we're doing. And you'll get real-time push notifications when our moderators enter and exit positions. That way, even if you're not in front of your computer, you can still follow along with everything it is that we are doing here inside True Trading Group. Now, what did I just say to you 10 minutes ago? 10 minutes ago, I told you that I think that the futures market is going to pull back from here. Let's pull up the chart real quick of the futures market. There's your pullback. So there was the double top at 58.95. There's your pullback, right? Let's go back to the trial. That's ttgtrial.com. It's totally free. It's 7 trading days, not 7 calendar days. So join today. Get your butt in chat tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will not be here on YouTube to talk about what the election looks like and what the market's doing. I'm going to be live in chat with my TTG fam going over a detailed game plan of exactly how I intend to make money tomorrow. What am I buying? What am I shorting? We'll go over all of that tomorrow morning in the pre-market session. Join the trial. Go to ttgtrial.com. Thanks for tuning in tonight, folks. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Did you guys enjoy this? If you enjoyed this, smash the like button. Show some love. If you guys enjoyed this live stream, but it's 10:30. I'm not going to stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning going over this with you guys. I've got to get my rest. I've got to get my rest because I need to be laser focused tomorrow. There's going to be a ton of money making opportunities. The market is absolutely on fire. I got to go to sleep. So tomorrow morning I can wake up refreshed, ready to go, ready to kick some ass, and I'll be there with my TTG fam to do exactly just that. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your night. I appreciate you guys. Smash that like button, show some love, turn on your notifications. Don't ever miss out on these lives. I'll check you guys all out tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.